We are continuing to honor Black History Month by sharing my family's very personal connection to one of America's darkest chapters. In 1921, about 300 people were killed in the Tulsa, Oklahoma Race Massacre in the Greenwood neighborhood, known as Black Wall Street. Over 2 days, more than 30 blocks of Black-owned homes and businesses were destroyed, displacing countless families and resulting in the loss of millions of generational wealth. It remains a haunting scar on this nation's past. My wife, Atoya's family, lost 3 businesses in that massacre: a hotel, a real estate company, and a barbershop. We recently took a trip to Oklahoma with some of Atoya's relatives, and we visited those sites where the businesses once thrived, all in an effort to learn more about our family history. After a long 4-hour flight, we finally arrived in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City?
When we landed, we met up with my wife's cousin, Dwight.
I have not been back in years.
We are headed to our Marcia's house.
Hey, Mom!
Our journey began at the home of Marcia McGee, Atoya's maternal aunt, who lived in Oklahoma City her entire life. Before heading into Tulsa, I sat down with the family.
Now, Dwight, you have been collecting information for a long time.
Yeah, it's a blessing that we're able to actually sit and talk about our family and the legacy.
Aunt Marcia, what do you know about your family's history as it relates to Black Wall Street?
What my brother had told me is that Grandpa Hezekiah was a millionaire.
Marcia's grandfather and Atoya's great-grandfather, Lafayette Wilson, was the proud owner of a hotel in Tulsa, and his father, Hezekiah Wilson, owned a real estate company, both examples of Black success lost in the massacre.
So Lafayette owned the Lafayette Hotel.
Yes.
And ownership is a tricky word when it comes to the African-American community.
Yeah.
Because we were once owned, told we couldn't own anything.
Yeah.
So what does the word ownership mean to you as it pertains to Lafayette?
I actually was intrigued because when you think about that they did that during a time when it was almost impossible, that to me is so inspirational because I have no excuses knowing that this is my lineage and what they did back then.
Right.
Right. Are there any curiosities as we head to Tulsa?
I think for me is actually seeing where the business was.
The next morning, we drove east to Tulsa in search of the place where Lafayette Hotel once stood.
I knew I wanted to be in the region.
We met up with author and historian Hannibal B. Johnson, who has dedicated nearly 30 years to researching the Tulsa Massacre.
Why do you believe that this story was brushed under America's rug for so long?
First, think about when this happened. It happened in 1921.
Okay.
Tulsa was on an upward trajectory to becoming the oil capital of the world. Tulsa was on its way.
Yeah.
And so the chamber types had an interest in minimizing what happened here. Another factor I think we should consider is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Black folks are traumatized, so they might have wondered, if we make a big deal out of this, could this recur? We also know that conservatively estimated the dollar damage from the destruction was roughly $1.5 to $2 million, which is in the tens of millions of dollars today.
So Hannibal, we provided you with 2 addresses, the Lafayette Hotel and also HT Real Estate. What did you find out about those locations?
The real estate business is listed on a registry of destroyed properties that was created by the Oklahoma Commission to study the Tulsa Race Riot of 1921.
Yeah. What about the Lafayette Hotel?
I didn't find that listed, which doesn't mean it didn't exist. It just means it wasn't listed.
Oh.
We moved over to Greenwood Rising,
We got everything we want right here. We got our own business.
a history center located at the heart of Tulsa's Greenwood district.
Do we have an idea of where that address is?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, if the address is 604 East Archer, then it's right outside. I mean,
Archer
it's like
and
right
Greenwood,
outside.
right?
Yeah, it's Archer and
What do you
Greenwood.
mean, like right outside, right outside?
Right outside where we are, yeah.
Well, we have to go see this.
Well, let's go see it.
I want to stand right
Yeah.
there.
But before we could head out, John Adams, the building's security guard, stopped us to ask what we were up to. To our surprise, he had something that might help us in our search for answers.
What is this?
That's the corner of Greenwood and Archer.
He told us that before this building was built, the foundation of a hotel was exposed on the corner of this very block.
And then they covered it up with what you see out there now.
Outside the museum, markers on the ground suggest where some businesses once stood. An initiative started in the early 2000s.
604 would have been somewhere between these two markers here.
But not every business is marked.
We might assume that Lafayette Wilson had his business, the Lafayette Hotel, right here.
Unbelievable.
If you were able to stand face to face with your great-grandfather, Lafayette, what would you say to him?
I would ask him, what did he have planned for us, for his future, for his grandchildren, for his children? I would ask him.
Yeah.
What did he have? What was he thinking? What was he passing on, to us, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, Auntie.
It's okay.
It's all right.
I'm just so proud of what he did.
After an emotional morning, we had one more stop to complete our trip. We walked over to the Black Wall Street Memorial, displaying all the businesses destroyed and their owners, to search for their grandfather's name.
You see anything?
Yep.
Yeah,
H.T. Wilson. There it is, right there.
H.T. Wilson.
Yep. And look.
It says no amount specified. And the amount is
Unpaid financial.
what does that amount mean?
Claim, it says a claim amount. In the insurance policies back then, almost all of them had exclusionary clauses, and they wouldn't pay if the damage was occasioned by riot or civil unrest. That was a specific clause in the insurance policies.
Wow.
So these black people didn't get paid.
There's H.T. Wilson Real Estate right there.
Real estate, okay. How about the barbershop? Is it
And there's Lafayette Hotel right there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Found them all. Oh my gosh.
That's great. That's great.
And then
H.T.
you got
Wilson
H.T.
Real
Wilson's
Estate.
Real Estate, and then right here is Wilson Barbershop. All three. So inspirational.
It's pretty unbelievable to have all three of the businesses there. I'm happy for my wife because when she first discovered that her great-grandfather owned the Lafayette Hotel, I can tell that she was curious, but there were so many gaps in what she knew. This is the most rewarding part of my job. It's one thing to do a piece that people watch, but to do something for my wife and her family, it's pretty special.
So let me say thank you to my wife and her family,
Yes.
and of course the CBS Mornings team. It was a special day for us because there were so many answers that they had questions to, and it was filled with frustration, some pain.
Some anger.
There was anger there.
Yes, definitely.
But there was also inspiration, like my wife said, because that was a time where her family met so much resistance, and other families, other black families, and they still built Black Wall Street that was opulent,
Yep.
that was bustling.
Yeah.
And you're familiar with that area.
Exactly. Well, I mean, listen, I'm embarrassed that I didn't even know that story until I became an adult. But just, it is frustrating, Nate, when you think about what could have been in the family that was not passed on.
Yeah.
I was very touched by the granddaughter's reaction when she said, what did he want for his family? That just happened time and time and time again, and we had no idea that any of this was happening. So to know that you guys have a personal connection to that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it was like for Atoya.
Oh man, it was emotional.
Right.
It really was.
Right.
I mean, her family built it, but the frustrating thing is they had to rebuild it because they lose everything. And that hotel doesn't disappear because of an act of God. It's an act of man.
But
It's a
still
heinous
get
act
nothing
of
for
man.
it, though.
Yeah,
They
nothing
get
for
nothing
it.
Still
for
get
it.
nothing for it.
Yeah.
And you see that corner, you could tell just looking at it's a great area, right? You could see there's some kind of stadium in the background. I mean, imagine if her family had a hotel on that corner right now. I feel like Marriott and Hyatt would be trying to buy it today.
Yes.
Yeah, and
How
then
about the security guy that just happened to be there?
He just stopped
when you guys
us.
were there? Yeah.
He's like, hey, can I show you
What are
something?
you guys doing?
And I'm like, where was that? He's like, right here, where this museum is.
Mm-hmm.
So the museum was built on top of where the hotel was. You know, it's easy to show what the property damage was, but it's hard to quantify, like you said, Gayle, the generational wealth that could have been passed along for decades. And that's one thing for so long we have struggled with in the Black community, is passing along generational wealth.
Still struggling.
And still struggling with it.
24. And your cousin Dwight, you said?
Dwight,
is
yeah.
50 years old?
Yeah, he looks like
a teenager.
They got some good genes.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes, they do.
But it was an amazing day. And once again, thank you to everybody involved.